So I turned on the weather this morning, and they have one of those helpful hints that you're supposed to reduce strenuous activity. So how do you do that during a football training camp?
You don't. You deal with it. It's part of the circumstances. And we talk about, competitive greatness, being your best when your best is required, regardless of the circumstance. And that's the situation. So we gotta get our mind right for that. And hopefully we gave the guys a heads up yesterday in terms of making sure that you get the proper nutrition, the proper hydration, so that it's a non-issue.
Do you welcome an occasional day like this?
Yeah, it's kind of sick of me, but yeah, I don't mind it. I think going through a little tough, something tough is good for you.
Have you ever reconsidered night practices?
Just for you, Mike. We'll hold one later this evening, 8 o'clock.
What if I show?
You could. It'd be great. You'd be the only one there.
Anyway, Matt, did you get a sense that the whole team was kind of lifted by just seeing Rashawn out there doing 11-on-11s yesterday?
Yeah, it was great to see him out there. You can feel the explosiveness just in his speed and his power. It was just nice to see him out there.
Matt, you talked about obviously what JJ's doing year 2. You get Lucas, a first-round pick, add to that group. Rashawn is now coming back. Just what do you think of that edge rusher group as a whole and what you're building there?
Well, I think we've got a lot of potential, but we've got to utilize that potential and put it to good use. And the best way to do that is go out there and continue to work and get better. But I like the approach of the group. I think Rebs does a great job with those guys first and foremost, and the competition has really elevated, I think, the play of some of those younger players.
Thump Gaines came back yesterday. What do you like about him in the slot?
Well, he's for his size especially, he's got all the movement skills, everything you look for. He's a physical player, and I think he's done a nice job. We just got to try to keep him out there and keep him healthy.
Matt, what did you think about your first team offense performance in yesterday's practice?
I didn't think it was good enough. I mean, and that's the one thing that you have to understand as a really, whether you're playing football or whatever sport you're playing, when you have a couple days off, you got to be ready to go, and that's part of being a professional. And I didn't think that we had the focus that was needed to have a winning performance, quite frankly. There was way too many whether it was busted plays or pre-snap penalties, things that you're in total control of, that we didn't go out there and execute. And when you do that, it's hard to put a winning performance out there.
Is that just an August 22nd kind of thing where it happens, or is it a kind of a cause for concern, like you got a shotgun snap hitting your tight end?
Yeah, I'll put that one on us as coaches there in terms of, can we time it up better? But it probably wasn't the best scheme. But that's what this time of the year is for. You're going to experiment. You're going to push the limits. You're going to try things, and sometimes they don't work out to the way you want them to. And that was one instance, because even when we did get it right, the play still didn't look great. So we kind of scrapped that one.
Matt, speaking of focus, there's been some of the botched exchanges between quarterback and center. Is that a focus thing? Is that like players now coming out of college, they're used to just being in shotgun and not under center? Is that just something else?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of many things. Now, at least under center, we haven't had as many with our ones, but you don't want to have it with anybody. So that's something that, we work hard on every day in pre-practice drills. That quarterback center exchange is critical, because you don't give your chance to even compete if you're fumbling those snaps.
In general, what is the bust percentage for your wide receivers? And you've got a young group. Do you see that quite often, or have they been pretty good in terms of knowing plays and reading the coverage?
Yeah, they've done a pretty nice job up to this point. We presented some new things yesterday that there were some busts, and that tends to happen. You try to avoid it at all costs by installing it in the classroom, then going to walk through it, and then you get out there and in the team situations, and you want it to be perfect. And sometimes when you present with some new material, it just depends how much new there is. And there was a lot of new things that new wrinkles, I would say, not necessarily new concepts, but there were some wrinkles within the concepts that we presented yesterday, and it caused a little bit of confusion.
How has Jordan responded to those? So, he sees the guy running the wrong route, or does he get flustered? Does he throw it
No,
away?
I have yet to see that from him. So,
Matt, Alex Magoo yesterday talked about how with the quarterbacks that he's been around, he just sees Jordan Love and says that guy's got it. I know Dan Orlovsky had that little segment of showing that Jordan Love has footwork, beyond his years. Is that something that you've noticed as a head coach, that his footwork over the past couple of years, it's developed and only gotten better?
that's something that we've worked extremely hard at, and I think that's a prerequisite for winning football in this league at that position. So that is absolutely paramount. The fundamentals that it takes to play that position, again, Tom is a master of them and does a great job of just drilling over and over and over. But those guys have to do it when they're away from here too. And I think they put the time in, and he goes, and I know he goes out to California and spends a lot of hours working on all the little details, because every concept might have a little bit different drop. It still might be, this is a quick game, or this is a 5-step mechanics, but the timing of each concept, that's why these reps are so imperative, because it could be just, how small are your steps versus how big your hitch is. So there's a lot of detail within just, trying to marry up your footwork with whatever the concept is.
And is it hard to get a look at Emmanuel Wilson blocking? I mean, you'd have to call certain plays, right, for him to do that? And how many of those can you call in a given practice?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of looks at him blocking. I just think that in terms of, it's just, can you get him enough of the pressure looks where it's absolutely imperative that you're on top of whether you're tracking your man or whatever you're doing within the scheme. That's where the challenge lies, is can you get them enough looks at all the variations that are out there? Is it an even front? Is it an odd front? Is it dime defense? Is it nickel defense? Is it base defense? There's just so many nuances that go. So I personally don't think you can give them enough. It takes years to give them all those reps, and generally speaking, going into a game, you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to get, but there's always some unscouted looks, and that's where trusting your rules and making sure everybody's on the same page is so imperative.